Welcome to the Gump Report, ladies and gentlemen, an extension of what happened with Sasha and Naomi. I had to make this video because of what I found out on SmackDown. I actually got Raw and SmackDown mixed up. I got been myself. I'm actually going to go get some therapy today. Not the physical one, the other one. But I'll say something about that at the end of this if you want to hear it. But hearing on SmackDown that a Michael Cole with Pat McAfee said, well, Pat didn't say anything, but Michael, got a little bit of Vince in his ear because of the mic in his ear, was told simply, tell everybody that Sasha and Naomi were unprofessional, they were disrespectful, and now they have been indefinitely suspended until further notice. Of course, there's a lot more to it, particularly if you've seen either Fightful.com or NoDQ.com, where someone else who was friends of both of them made a basic statement of what was going on. You notice it's pretty messy right now. Now, I've seen Just Alex. I've seen the Slug Daddy. I finally did see Slug Daddy. I did not see Solid Monster. And I saw JD. And I've seen some of Jim Cornette's take before the suspension. His talk about what he felt about when they went in, they laid the titles out, and they walked out. Now, here's the thing. This is where it gets very interesting. My take on this is not the take of everybody else. If you listen to Just Alex, JD, and to a certain extent Jim Cornette on his take on it at the time, because I did not hear what he said about the suspension. But basically these guys made it very clear, fuck WWE, generally speaking, because they all went into very good detail. But in a general sense, fuck WWE. These women have the right to do what they need to do for themselves. You don't have very good creative. They are still independent contractors, even though they have contracts. And back in the day, and has been stated back in the day, that wrestlers going from one promotion to another didn't need to stay. They could just leave. Either not show up at an event, and I will talk about what happened to ECW and Sabu, if I don't forget. I will get to that in a minute. They could just walk out during that said show or match, or they can go afterward. Ergo, Toni Storm. What happened with her after, and I will get to her in a minute too, because this also concerned. This is very difficult to get a good wrap around, because it's easy to say WWE is wrong, Sasha and Naomi are right. Yes, but it's a little more detailed because we're involved in it. I'm not just talking about Vince, creative, the shareholders. I'm talking also about the fans, where we put our take on it and we make also drama for ourselves. So I will be getting to that. But you get the gist about them. Now, there are others who say they were very disrespectful. That is the wrestlers, Vince himself. They basically stated that, and that's in WWE. The wrestlers in WWE are showing no sympathy for Sasha, particularly. Well, when it comes to Naomi, of course, Jonathan, her husband, is going to stand up for her. He did. And the rest of the wrestlers, male and female, say they're totally disrespectful, they're totally ridiculous, or they just didn't believe what just happened. And then if you see things in at least to a certain extent, both sides, there's a Slick Daddy. Whether you like Slick Daddy or not. His take on it is, I believe, the proper way to see this. Yes, Just Alex, JD, Jim Cornette. I'm sure Solomon's is probably there. And I have not seen Solomon's take on because when this happened, Solomon's did not release anything. By now, I'm sure he did. And maybe he released another video talking about the suspension. I have not checked. But their take is not invalid. But when you want to hear both sides of the stone, both sides of the story, Slick Daddy's got it pretty good. But even he, when you see this full situation, is not correct either. And I know I'm not going to be totally correct either. No one has the full situation wrapped around what the big picture is. I'm no different. But this is my take. Did Sasha and Naomi have the right to just walk out? Yeah, they did. Because let's be honest here. If you're going to look over the last 10 years, and I'm saying only 10, you can go further back than that, from 2012, sorry, I'm a little hoarse from allergies. From 2012 until now, the ratings for WWE dropped from nearly 5 million for Raw. 5. Understand, guys, we're not talking about SmackDown. We're not talking about NXT. We're talking about Raw. They used to have a 5.0 easily. Nearly 5 to 6 million people watched the damn product. They're here. Look how high it is. 1.6 and 1.8 million. They lost a huge percentage of their audience over the years. Yes, some people got tired of the product because they grew out of it, or MMA became more interesting. True. But we are talking about a 5.0 to a 1.6 to 1.8 drop. Flat out. No one can take anything from that. It doesn't make a difference. SmackDown was much better than Raw or NXT. The product has been bad for the last decade because Vince did not understand what he's been doing anymore. Not understand. He just doesn't care. He's producing the product the way he likes it. Period. And the ratings reflect that. Now, have they made money over the last 10 years? Yes, they have. Vince has made sure he diversified the company. Let's be honest. WWE Studios made some level of money. It did. The XXXL tried to make some money and failed the first time. He tried it again. He had to put on hiatus because of the pandemic. Yes, he also made it a traded company, which also made a lot of money. And when the pandemic happened, what did they do? They stopped touring. They stayed in one place. The merchandise money came in really well. The money from Saudi really helped a lot. And laying off 2 to 220 plus people made it even more apparent. So they've made money hand over fist. But here's where it begins for me personally. Now, anybody else would say it's not correct, but this is just my take on it. Where this all stemmed from, what this all really began from, was not the pandemic. And it wasn't just a decade of just slumping ratings. I believe it really started when Cameo and Twitch became an issue to WWE. Yes. Because once the pandemic happened, the only other way that the wrestlers could make any extra money next to their merchandise and live appearances was also Cameo. And the beginning and the building of it, Twitch. They were making other sources of money next to any type of advertisement for doing either car reviews, doing commercials, saying this is the greatest thing since sliced bread, come and get us, Mercedes-Benz, something like that. But once the pandemic happened, and Vince, the shareholders, Nick Khan mainly, Vince, Nick Khan, and the shareholders, they saw that the wrestlers were making extra money in other locations. And they decided, no, unless we're making it as well, you will stop Cameo. You will stop Cameo, you will stop Twitch, and any other affiliations flat out. The only few people that had something already probably ahead of time was Up, Up, Down, Down, and that was due to the fact that with Xavier Woods, he gave the thing to the government, to WWE, his government, and he was able to continue doing until he stopped doing it altogether because he wasn't making any money out of it. Until now, I believe he made some type of agreement where he's now making money, because if you've seen G4, what was the woman's name? Frost, she fucked that up. Whether you like her or not, she opened her mouth and pissed off the fans. But the point is, very few people continued making money outside. Unless they were retired or they already had some type of deal beforehand. Vince and Nick Khan ordered the stopping of Cameo, ordered the stopping of Twitch, because they were using their wrestling names during it. And even though they changed their names, guess what? They decided, hey, stop totally of your entire thing, or we want to have total control of it, or take a large percentage of it. This is when it really began for many wrestlers. Many wrestlers who now only had the guaranteed contract, which basically, if I understand it, states the guaranteed contract will only give them what they're owed. If they only make $400,000 a year, they'll make sure they only get $400,000 a year. No bonuses, no overtime, nothing. They can't get anything extra out of their merch. They used to, not anymore. So I could be wrong about that, but as far as I know, all of that stopped. Whatever they made for their merch would be added to the guarantee, which was whatever was set. It used to be you can go beyond that. During the pandemic, no, it stopped. There were no more live events. The only thing they were getting their merch, so the guaranteed contract said, well, you're only getting 4, 5, 6, 800,000. Even though your merch is still selling and you could get extra along with that, we're not giving it to you. So many wrestlers were getting angry about that. Selena Vega, she decided to not back down to Vince, and Vince fired her ass. And then she made the decision because she wanted to be with her husband, because that's what was reported. Me, I thought it might have been a father. Others believed it was just the money. But no matter if it was her father because she loved the company because of her father, because she just wanted to be with her husband, the Malachi Black, who was fired after she was hired, she's been paying for it. Doing her best to deal with what she's been dealt with. Whether she's fine with and happy, or she was heartbroken because her man wasn't with her, it don't make a difference. She's stuck there until her turn. This is frustrating. Because yes, you could say, and this leads right back to Naomi and Sasha Banks, they're right. And they are right. What's been going on with the company is simple. Vince does not care. He treats people any way they want. Now, there are people there who want to retire with a stable income and not get their bodies so badly beaten up. They still love wrestling, at least some of them. Others are just there as a business. They don't care about wrestling anymore. They know they're getting a guarantee. This is so frustrating to know people like that. I can understand that they want something stable for the family, for themselves, because they devoted their lives to an industry they loved as a child or as an adult. And they broken their bones. They torn ligaments. Some of them actually gotten to the point where they broke their necks, like Big E has recently done. So they're willing to take not getting treated correctly for this and security. Others, yes, they want this, but they want to still do the thing they love. That is the reason why Toni Storm, she got so sick of what happened. She did her last obligation. She went to the last SmackDown show, got into a plane, and went her ass home. When it came to Stone Cold Steve Austin, he told Vince, I'm not doing what you want. He never showed up for his obligations, and he went his ass home. That's what he did. CM Punk, he did his obligations, went to get married. While he was off recovering from injury, he got his ass fired. And now with Naomi and Sasha Banks, where I do believe Jim Cornette is right in a certain respect, because look at how many wrestlers kept the damn titles. Now, understand what I'm saying. When wrestlers get either treated bad by the company or they're just tired of the company and move on, a lot of times, even though they're holding on to the title, does not mean it's theirs. Unless they paid for it themselves and said they want to just keep it and you produce another title, that's still the company's title. Look what happened with Impact Wrestling and Tessa Blanchard. She didn't want to do an obligation while she was in Mexico. She didn't want to work with them anymore, just doing promos on Skype. She didn't want to go back. So they had to tell her, return our belt, which she eventually did. So in this respect, what Naomi and Sasha did after they found out what the situation was, if you hear hammering, they're working currently outside my building. I'm sorry. But they decided to go in after they found out what was going to happen, that Naomi was going to pin Sasha, and basically not only Sasha was going to look bad, Naomi eventually was going to look bad by basically jobbing to Bianca at Hell in a Cell. Sasha was going to look bad because pretty much she was going to have a program after she loses to Naomi to basically go after Ronda Rousey's own title and then job to her. They were told for 2 months they weren't going to do absolutely anything with the titles. They were just going to carry them and just wait until SummerSlam? That is what the basic dirt sheets have been stating was the original goal for them that Vince and the writing team wanted. And they couldn't stand that. They tried to say, why are we doing this? Why don't we have challengers? Could we do something else? And supposedly they went through Vince, tried to go through him twice. They did once, and then when they came up with the concerns when the plan was still going on, pretty much the writers said they were children. They had an attitude. They were divas. And so they both decided, and from what I can tell, I do not believe Naomi just, well, you see my thumbnail, even though she said in my thumbnail, don't worry sis, we out, they can kiss it. I said that. Naomi's her own person. Look, if she was so worried about this, she didn't have to do that. Yes, her husband's working in the bloodline. She could have actually had a bloodline storyline if she stuck to her guns as Jimmy's wife and not did a damn thing and let Sasha just walk out. She decided after seeing what was going on that all these years, and I have always said with Naomi that she deserved better. I even made a video about Naomi leaving WWE and going somewhere else. Look through all my videos. You'll find one. I think I did like 2 months ago, a month or two ago. It's hard to keep track, guys. I've done already 1,900 videos. I can't remember the last 5 videos, let alone the last 2 months of videos. I've made so many. I can't remember. It's very hard to remember, even though I have a list of videos, because I have made a list of all the names of my videos. I can't remember half this, not even a tenth of the stuff I said in them. Don't remember. So don't ask me. I don't remember. I'll say, oh, I think I did. I did say this. And I had to try to remember, and it's not easy. But the point is, Naomi's her own person. She decided, you know what? This ain't right with you. And over the years, what have I been doing? I was supposed to have Sonya Deville at WrestleMania. I didn't get that. I got a tag team with you. They wanted us to come together. I decided to leave the Sonya Deville storyline to be with you. It was a good long storyline. I'm sure that's what she would say. And what did they do? They gave them the tag belts. And they've done nothing with them due to the fact there's no competition. Doudrop and Nikki Ash. There's no more Liv Morgan. There's no more Rhea Ripley. Natalya and Shayna Baszler are not together right now, as far as I can tell. There are no tag teams. Yet nothing to do. So that might have been already frustrating as it was, where there should be tag teams. Hasn't been. So you wonder what the fuck are they doing? Why are we still tag teams? And now they get this laid on them before Hell in a Cell that they're going to do a 6-pack challenge on Monday night. Sasha is going to get pinned by Naomi, who's going after Bianca, who will job at, Hell in a Cell. And Sasha would get pinned by Naomi, eventually go into a feud with Ronda, and then get pinned and beaten by Ronda. And for 2 months in between that, they'll be doing nothing. No tag team matches, no challengers. They're just holding the titles. How would you feel? Now, after I've stated that, and I've heard what Slug Daddy said, you should do your damn obligation, Jim Cornette brings up a very valid point, and some of the older wrestlers or older managers would state the same thing, that wrestlers stated and managers stated back in the 70s, 80s, 90s, and even in the 2000s, wrestlers who were not under contract would go and do whatever the hell they want as long as they understand the consequences of what they do. And in this situation, Sasha and Naomi understood it. Now, yes, they are under contract. They can't work anywhere. If they try to go to Impact Wrestling, AEW, MLW, New Japan Pro Wrestling Noah, Dragon Gate. What is the one that guy is? Tetris, I can't remember his name. DDT, Shimmer. They can't. If they do, they will be sued. That is the deal. As long as they're under that guaranteed contract, they will be sued by WWE. So they can just sit home and wait. Or they get released. Now the question is going to be, which one is it going to be? And this is an interesting situation when it comes to Naomi, because her husband is part of the bloodline. Will Jonathan try to convince his woman to apologize and go back? Now, I'm not saying she will. Understand what I'm saying here, guys. There are several situations here we do not understand. And we're not going to know the whole picture of what's going to happen with WWE. This situation has made the wrestling industry pissed off. Some are saying they're totally unprofessional who are in the wrestling industry. Others who are outside the wrestling industry, reporters, podcasters, and fans in general, and some wrestlers, yes, other wrestlers who are not in the industry of WWE, they're saying, good for you, like CM Punk. And Matt Cardona, being a heel, probably saying, if I was there, I would have gone to the, well, you know, if you've seen his tweet. Essentially, this is what I see after saying all this. This is where we are. We're in an industry as fans, as well as wrestlers and promoters, that has been under decline. Mostly due to the fact that since WWE for the last decade, like I said, for the last 10 years, from 2012 until 2022, has put very bad movies, television, all that crap. Let's be honest. WWE studios had to be stopped because it was crappy and it didn't make the WWE look any better. TV shows, in other words, Raw, SmackDown, looked like crap. NXT looked different, but then Vince never did anything with the wrestlers unless he rebuilt them from scratch to fit his narrative, which never helped the company anyway. People who loved NXT, the original one, loved those wrestlers, but what happened to them? Only maybe 2 or 3 were allowed to keep what they were, but they were still tweaked to a certain extent. Ergo Roman Reigns, ergo Charlotte Flair, and even to a certain extent, ergo Seth Rollins. Everybody else had been reconstructed heavily, or eventually was just let go because Vince had no interest in them. So clearly, the wrestling industry has been hurt by the WWE's bad booking and bad attitude. That's the truth. Now, we have a situation where wrestlers have literally walked out. Look, you can say it like this. Jon Moxley made it very clear how badly WWE treated him, but he was still happy that he went there and met his wife. Ryback said the WWE was crap. CM Punk said the WWE was crap. When it came, if you've seen Ember Moon's own podcast with Chris Van Vliet, she said it was unfair how she was treated. The Iconics, who really made some fans very upset by not taking a year off to recharge themselves, went right back into wrestling, and then within 6 months of getting the title in about to say AEW, in Impact Wrestling, which upsets me, because I said it myself, they really didn't change. They said in their damn podcast with Renee, calm down. With Renee and Chris Van Vliet, they made it very clear. They were badly hurt, that they were separated. Jessica McKay felt really broken without Cass. And they, when they left, had come together and made a meeting saying they were going to remake themselves. But the minute they went to Bound for Glory last year, what did they do? We are the inspiration. They did not do anything. And then when they won the titles off of Havoc and Rosemary, what did they do? Nothing. They didn't really change the stick much. And in the end, they left. It wasn't that they were fired. They left to indefinitely go away from wrestling. Why did they go into Impact in the first place? If they weren't right in the head, when I'm sure Jessica or even Cass were not happy 100% about how they got treated in wrestling, and they should have took at least a year off to recharge themselves. Yes, it would be harder for them to get work, but at least they would have been happier instead of spending about 3 or 4 months away from wrestling, and then they finally went back when they weren't really happy. We basically have many wrestlers who left WWE that has been disenfranchised. Now we have Sasha and Naomi, who made it very clear we're done. And yeah, I haven't forgotten about when it came to Toni Storm, as well as for Jeff Hardy, as well as for who else walked away. Well, Toni Storm decided to just go home, and they released her. Jeff Hardy being released because they thought he was drunk or messed up, and he said, "I'm not drunk and messed up. I want to see my results," and they fire him anyway, which made him even more disenfranchised, even though he's not doing bad in AEW. It just shows you how badly damaged the wrestling industry is because of how badly damaged the WWE is. And it doesn't help AEW right now, because a lot of people who are from WWE have been going to AEW right now, so it does not help them a lot. Then Impact, who has not been doing very well, who are mostly copying WWE. I don't care who you are. I know I have subscribers who love Impact Wrestling, who get pissed off that I critique the damn thing so much, but you cannot deny that they're copying a lot of what WWE's been doing. That's one of the reasons why Impact has issues. They try to copy most of what WWE does, and that's wrong. That's the reason why their ratings have not grown that much. It's not that they need just more people, which they do. They need more better names for the women and men. But let's be honest, you don't listen. Many of you keep saying over and over again, they need more women. No! They need better management because they're still copying the WWE. Look at their camera work. This is WWE. This is Impact Wrestling. Tell me I'm wrong. Go watch the damn product and see how the camera work is so bad that when they zoom in like this, most of the time they catch people like this when they're turning, instead of leaving the camera open in a wide angle like they used to. Whoever is running production, even if it's Lance Storm, Gail Kim, I don't care who it is. I keep forgetting who it is. That's part of the production who's probably doing that. They think they're doing something great like WWE, and in the end, they're wrong. It looks very amateurish. And I'm an amateur podcaster. I'm not like JD or Just Alex or Solomon, so I don't have a huge setup here. I got a crappy Canon, M6, and a, I got an HN1 zoom not camera, but mic. That's all I got. I don't live stream. I don't have a live stream thing. I can't do super chats. I can't do none of that shit. But what they're doing is amateur. And I'm the amateur. It just shows you how badly messed up the companies are right now. Yes, AEW is a new chance at trying to rebuild the wrestling industry. But it's going to take a huge mess. I said when they first came out, 5 years. Over 5 years. At least 5 years and going there. Before we really see if the wrestling industry is going to change for the better. Because saying it's changing now is bullshit. It's been around 3 years, and yes, you can critique them, but they need 5 years to be fully established, and hoping that not only MLW, Impact Wrestling, AAA, Dragon Gate, BCW, GCW, Shimmer, maybe some of the other promotions that are in Japan and Europe will take a good idea from them and make themselves better. Because what makes things better is not just that we got a company that's an alternative to WWE. You see, I'm getting upset. It's about them honestly using it in their own promotions and making things better. Well, I hope you enjoyed this Gump report. Please give me a comment below. At least there's no flying here. I was trying to do recordings before, but it was a fly buzzing the crap out of me and driving me insane. Peace.